Rohanna. She's joining me. And Rohanna has a degree in computer engineering. She's now doing her graduate studies in cybersecurity. I am Rohan Jawala. I have an extensive review of artificial intelligence technology as it relates to education. And of course, I've been in the classroom for some years doing education and then moved to higher education. But I want to say that tonight I want us to have a conversation. And as we move forward, we're going to have a conversation about certain things. As I stated before, if you wanted to know more about my background, please link me up on LinkedIn. I am willing to grow my network. And also, you should also do that. And I also invite you to share your network with us. And also, we will join you on your quest to acquire knowledge. I think there's so much out there. But I want to start out by giving an introduction of what this session is going to be about. I want to start also by talking about some AI news that we have coming to us, very relevant to us. Some might be a bit late, but we need to be aware of that, especially in the Caribbean. And when I look at those who responded to the poll, I must say that my conversation tonight is going to be garnered around some points that you've made. I want us to also look at understanding AI in education. And of course, we're going to touch on some of the issues that we need to consider as I bring forward a story that has been somewhat moving for me. I want us to look at AI for student productivity and, of course, teacher productivity. And then we're going to touch on some tools that we can use. I'm going to introduce you to several, and then I will share some resources, and then we'll make a conclusion. And, of course, invite you for deeper conversation. Let me say that in everything that I do, I think prayer is important. I do not know of any clergy person here, so I'm just going to whisper prayer because I think that is so important. Dear Heavenly Father, as we come about today to discuss artificial intelligence and productivity in education, I'm asking you to bless this session, help us to garner greater information, and of course, learn from each other. In your humble name I ask. Amen. Yes, I had to put on my clergy garments there, but I am not in any way connected to that. But I want to say in my opening statement that AI can transform education. It can transform, of course, productivity in the classroom. It can lead to greater engagement. And let me say to you at this point, it can boost efficiency. Efficiency for teachers, and of course, enhance the learning process for all. So I want us to take away tonight or this evening, wherever you are, the practical strategies that you can employ. I'm going to go a bit deeper, but I want to understand that I've traveled the landscape and I understand the context of the Caribbean and various places. So we're going to look at a few of these issues that are affecting these places. But I want to start off by saying our vision for Curriculum Edge. When we think about Curriculum Edge, we want to produce tools that are inclusive, that are forward thinking as it relates to education and technology, and by offering solutions to problems that individuals might have. For example, productivity in the classroom. We want to also give expert consultation regarding how certain tools can be deployed. And of course, I want you to think forward as it relates to technology, because technology is not just going to sit on an application, it's going to be on everything that we touch in the future that is electronic. We must empower educators, and our mission is to, of course, empower educators to engage in accessible use of technology. And of course, to ensure that students are future ready. So, some of these tools, of course, requires every educator to think before you do anything with our tools, and we have ethical issues that we're going to address. In addition to that, I'm going to showcase several things. But I want to take you on a little journey because a lot of things have happened over the past, I would say, 8 days. 8 days, so many things. And I'm not talking about the political landscape of United States. I'm actually talking about AI news. Last week I was, yes, I should be sleeping, but I had my phone looking at, and I saw where DeepSeek had broken a record. DeepSeek, for those who have not yet heard about it, it is a powerful language model like ChatGPT and others that is extremely powerful. As a matter of fact, some individuals have stated that DeepSeek is even much better than OpenAI ChatGPT. This proves to be important for one thing. It proves to me that the Caribbean too can access, of course, AI technology within within a better scape. All right. I am hearing something at this point, so I'm going to take this off shortly, but I have my another slide at this point from my family member. All right, but I want to say that the next one is AI in Arizona. That chatbot started and a charter school started something there. And of course, what they stated that they wanted to have 2 hours each day to allow students to use AI to learn. It did not go well. So I say to you that AI is making its way into the classroom. And my colleagues are here. We traveled to Brazil the other day, and I'm going to touch on a slide that makes connection to that. And when we were there, we realized that AI is everywhere based on the conversation that I'll touch on. And of course, the regulators did not want it. But I must commend CXC for their AI powered literacy that they have launched. And I think that's a forward movement because we can use AI with the capacity of improving students' learning. If you have not yet read the UNESCO Caribbean AI Policy Roadmap, I would encourage you to read these things because it's important that you understand where the where UNESCO sees AI going and we can move accordingly. Let me also say that if you noticed, I had a little problem there. I'm practically wearing a smart glasses on my face, and in that, the bottom picture is 2014, and that was Google. One little patch right here, and to be honest, it was nothing to compare. No, what I have on my face has all these items in the headpiece. You can see it is a smart device. It's like a computer connected to my phone. I can hear, of course, notification. Let me pull this off. I'm going to take it off now because I got a little disturbance a while ago and I want to be in full focus. So I put my real one on. Both of them are tested. But what we have now is smart technology. We can be able now to translate in real time using this technology. And to put things worse in the context of ethics, we now have the capacity of facial recognition using various tools. And the smart glasses that I have on my face, I bought it in January and it's also coming out in another version that will now give a display. These technologies will come into the classroom, and of course, I could be listening and I could be getting information regarding a student. The possibility is endless. So, as you think tonight about technology, I don't want you only to think about the chat GPT. I don't want you to think about Claude. I don't want you to think about applications itself that sits on a computer or a smartphone, but I want you to think about that digital device that sometimes we will wear because that's a part of it. And I say digital device because I think one of the things I was thinking about is that teachers sometimes go under a lot of stress in the classroom. And just imagine you could have an app that is monitoring your stress level and say to you, sit down, calm yourself, drink some water or something. That's going to be possible in the future. So as we go forward, I want you to understand that I'm not just thinking about applications, but I'm thinking about how these applications are going to be present in the classroom space. I did see where someone mentioned that in the future we need more smart boards and that sort of thing. But I think it's going to go beyond that point. But let us look at it. We have to think about the problems that arise when we have artificial intelligence. We have ethical issues that will arise, and these ethical issues can seep into our very classroom and create problems. Why do I say this? I say this because many times people say, you know what, I want a chat bot in my class. I want an AI who can talk to students and do certain things. But I want to tell you that there's an ethical issue as you think about productivity. We must, in our forefront, consider ethics. The key I want to talk about is a 14-year-old boy in Florida. He developed a connection with a chatbot, and it was called Character AI. It had a special name. And over time, he developed a very intimate connection with the AI to the point that he started to isolate himself from individuals, to the point that he limited his friends, to the point that his grades went down, to the point that they tried to give him help. And of course, he could not move away from that. Became so connected to that chatbot AI. And one day after intimate conversation, sadly, the teenager took his own life. His mother is now suing Character AI. So there's a deeper conversation as we think about productivity in the classroom. We have to understand what tools are we exposing students to. We have to ensure that it's culturally relevant to the student. And of course to ourselves, because we can be caught in a situation that we think AI is okay. But United Nations stated recently in one of their papers that AI mimics human behavior. So when you hear people talking about or teachers talking about AI is my best friend, you just warn them it's not human. So I move on to say that when we look at language models give you generalized ideas. I'm not going to go in language models, but I wanted you to, at this point, reflect on that because we want to move into the lens where we're looking at language models throughout because language models right now will give you practically anything you want. The other day, another ethics, a guy created a sentry weapon, or you could call it a machine gun in the Caribbean, that operated using ChatGPT's command. He was fired. But what I'm saying is there are issues. So let us move to the other slide because we want to go deeper now. We want to consider what is AI pedagogy. And everyone says, I use AI. I spoke to some teachers the other day in another Caribbean country who said they were very good. They questioned me about what was my best tool. And I told them I didn't have a best tool. It all depends on what I'm doing, the task I'm doing. So I want to say that AI pedagogy encompasses various innovative approaches to teaching with AI concepts and utilizing AI tools in education. You're not just going to be using the tools for use sake, but you're going to be using them because guess what? They improve understanding that students need to have. These methods aim to enhance students' understanding and engagement. But more of all, you must consider the key things: personalized learning. Just imagine you will have something that can be designed for personalized learning to take place. So Johnny has a problem. He has a problem with initial consonant sound. So therefore you can design a program. And of course, if you're a literacy specialist, you're going to ensure that that program aligns with, of course, your guidelines from your profession. You just don't copy it down and say, all right, Johnny, work on it. And the teacher will have a role in AI pedagogy. The teacher will serve, of course, as an individual that will use these tools to complement learning, not to replace teachers. And I saw where in the report that we compiled, hopefully many more will participate in it. And once the data is collected, I'll share it with you all. So when we think about replacement of teachers, I say if we work collaboratively and we are the humans, then we are right. But if we release everything to AI, it's problematic. And then teachers have a big role because we have an ethical role to play when we are using AI productively in our classroom. AI integration in education requires careful consideration. Ethical standards must be upheld. You just don't put anything in AI because you know what? What you get out, you also get out more and more irrelevant things, as I will show you. So, therefore, we want to educate individuals and users of AI not to be over dependent. And many of you said that in your feedback that it is a problem. Critical thinking could be a problem. But I want to bring an argument tonight that we can have critical thinking before we even engage in submitting anything to, of course, artificial intelligence. But to be honest, if the Caribbean is to move ahead, we have to really commit ourselves to many things as it relates to AI. We have to understand what administrative functions we can give AI. We have to understand how to customize the curriculum. And we also need to understand how to personalize the learning experience within the cultural context. So many times I produce content using AI. I cannot use it to represent who I am, to represent the people I'm trying to reach, because the content is derived from biased algorithms, and that's for another conversation. So be careful as you use it for productivity. My next slide is really one that I want to bring before I start thinking about going in the issue of productivity. It has to do with really who we are as individuals teaching. I came across several groups in my life as it relates to AI, and I remember I met a group roughly 2 years ago, and I saw one man. He produced a scheme of work using AI. He then produced a lesson using AI. He then presented the discussion prompt using AI. He created a rubric using AI, and he also used AI to do what? To mark the discussion. Lo and behold, someone said, I didn't say it, it's not my place. Someone said, so what work did you do? So, as we think about the conditions that we're using AI, we have to understand our own academic integrity. We must understand that we are creative. And of course, we must showcase, of course, what we're doing within an academic integrity framework. And of course, we must understand that we need to be leaders, not individuals that would just say, right, leave AI to do this. And bottom line is, you get what you put in, and if you're using it just like anybody else, you get something that is not flavored well. In the Caribbean, you like to flavor your food. It must be nicely seasoned. And of course, you don't want to put something in the oven and get the same thing everyone gets. You want a nice contextualized sort of atmosphere for your food. So, hence, I go on before you can use AI productively in your classroom or any learning space that you're going to be using it, you have to consider several things. A prompt. A prompt is an instruction to an AI or a reader to grade, to guide, of course, the generating of a response. It's like a recipe. You know, your oxtail, your curry goat, of course, your roti. If you're going to meet the best roti, you need the best ingredients and instructions as it relates to what you need to do at what time. So that's important. So it involves the context as it relates to the prompt that you're going to write, the context, the goal, the information, the request, and specific instructions. I know this might be known by many. However, for those who have no kind of framework that they use, we have provided you one on our site. And I wanted you to look at that information because it's going to help you to write prompts that are extremely good. There are roughly 7 elements mentioned in this that you can use. And of course, if you're going to be using it for any lesson planning or so forth, I say to you, write a good prompt. When you write a good prompt, you will get something else, but I'm going to touch on the lesson plan a bit later. Now, I want to push the boundaries a bit because I don't really use ChatGPT the way some individuals use it. Because I want to say that I have many subscriptions. ChatGPT is just one of the many. As I stated, when you write your prompt, you put that prompt in, and of course, you get something out. I don't use my prompts like this. If I had something to search, I might do it like that. But what I've done is to customize my GPTs to elicit from them information that I can practically use within a context and consistently go back and get it. My prompts that I use are extensive because of what I want. And I'm going to show you one of the many. Here I have a seating plan. How many of you have sat behind a desk or as an administrator and say, where should I put Mary? Where should I put Jonathan, who has a vision impairment? Where should I put this one or that one? And of course, you sit down and you try to work it out. Well, this GPT will actually design a class seating plan that is optimized based on students' needs. However, you have to do some work. You have to do some work. So I'm going to show you one thing. So if you decided that you didn't want to put anything in it and you just didn't wanted to just get a feedback and you just press, all right, send it to ChatGPT output, this is what you'd get. You click on that, you didn't put a prompt in. It's going to ask you exactly what you're about. There's no easy way. It's going to ask you, yes, the class size, the number of students, students' needs, the collaboration that's required, and of course, the academics. It's going to ask you these questions and more because you have to put information in. So what I'm saying is you just can't put ordinary prompts in. It must be designed in such a way that it elicits what you want. And I want to go a bit further because I want to carry us on another journey where I look at another one. You could have one for history. And of course, this history as it relates to African American history. And you could click on any one of these and you could get a response. The other one I want to highlight is AI for productivity. Another thing that we want to look at is competency framework. And this competency framework is for psychology. It could be a competency framework for, let's say, for instance, a TVEC course. All these can be done. However, it is done when you have a customized, I would say, GPT being used. All right. So that for me personally, I use roughly, I practically, this is $20 a month. And by the way, because of DeepSeek coming into being, you have OpenAI releasing things to you that they would not have done, and that is free. So you have many things to do. But I want to think about, as we go about AI for teacher productivity, it can automate tasks. I just showed you how you could automate a task a while ago. And that is one of the things that you could do. It could create content, it can enhance communication, and so forth. But I want you to take you in the back end of course, our system, which is going to highlight how you can even evaluate teachers and get information from GPT or from generative AI systems to, of course, showcase how this could be done. This tool was designed to save administrators time as it relates to writing an overview or of an assessment, teacher assessment or observation carried out. Here it is. Let me play that one.
This is a quick overview of our evaluation report tool. This evaluation report tool streamlines the process of administrating teacher evaluations. Let's add a report and see what it looks like. Currently, we only support 4 models, but we're looking to expand on these in the near future. Danielson, Marzano, Montessori, and General. The first page takes in all the information from the teacher information to the classroom information, alongside any additional classroom artifacts that would be beneficial towards the report. Here we can see that for the specific framework that we have selected, we are now in Domain 1, Planning and Preparation. For 1B, demonstrating knowledge of students, we can see the category rating. Category rating goes from ineffective to highly effective. The results for supporting evidence will filter out depending on what is chosen for category rating. For example, if we select ineffective, then the responses will lend to that. The teacher does not consider students, there is little to no adaptation. Given the category rating, supporting evidence, and extra notes, we mesh together a response from AI as a summary to the section. Let's see what that looks like in a report. A quick overview of what the evaluation report generates. We can see that we have the teacher information, the classroom information, and also the time of the observation. Here we can see our summary, our category, our rating, and our dropdown. It's important to note that the more detail that we put into our context is the more detailed that the summary will be that forms. And the context that we have on the side, each of these categories, they will depend on what framework was selected.
All right, so that is just inside the tool and the possibility of what can be accomplished using that. At this point, I want to move in. I don't know how these marks came on. If someone is scribbling, I would say to you, all right, but we'll move on. All right, I want us to look at this video at this point in time.
Well, I am an avatar, and I would like to bring to you some reflection on empowering the Caribbean classroom with this current shift in technology, and summarize this section of the presentation before showing you a few tools in operation. Let me say that Dr. Jawala was unable to find a Caribbean accent, but I am sure more diverse accents are on the horizon. In today's Caribbean classrooms, artificial intelligence, AI, is sparking a remarkable shift in how we teach and engage our students. AI-powered tools are creating opportunities to personalize learning, allowing us to tailor lessons to the unique needs, skills, and pace of each learner. These technologies are not just making education more accessible, but also making it more inclusive, enabling students who may need extra support to actively participate and excel. Whether through virtual tutors, speech-to-text software, or platforms that translate content into multiple languages, AI can help break down barriers, fostering a more equitable learning environment for all students in the Caribbean. However, the adoption of AI in education calls for careful consideration and guidance, especially when it comes to inclusion. For many teachers, this transition means expanding their skills to incorporate AI effectively and equitably into the classroom. As we embrace these technologies, it's essential to ensure that all students have fair access to them, especially those from underserved communities. Teachers play a critical role in this educational shift as they are uniquely positioned to create an inclusive classroom culture where AI is used responsibly and ethically. By building awareness and understanding of how to implement AI tools, Caribbean educators can empower students with skills essential in an
Me tell
increasingly
him, me say
digital
no.
world, positioning them to thrive in a globalized, tech driven society. Overall, the use of this tool can also enhance teacher productivity. For example, Dr. Jawala created a script, and now I am presenting it for him. The next few slides will feature a few AI tools and then showcase our Curriculum Edge's platform with AI tools. Please note that Curriculum Edge is not endorsing a tool, but demonstrating how this tool can enhance the productivity of teachers and administrators.
All right, so what we have there is, of course, an avatar. I wrote the script, I put it in, and of course, it was able to produce that video. I have some problems. They have not found the diversity in these characters yet. So I'm still waiting because I'm somewhat disappointed. I had one to choose, and that's what was the one I was able to choose. Now, I want us to move into presentations. Presentations can practically hold students' attention. They can, of course, allow you to disseminate your information clearly by using animations within these. And I found these tools useful. Canva, this PowerPoint was created in Canva. Of course, we have a Curriculum Edge PowerPoint tool, Tome, and of course, Copilot. All of these are available with some use to free, of course. But let me tell you that Microsoft Copilot 360 is a paid one because I think it's the one that is turbocharged. Very expensive. However, these are some tools that you can use to plan your items. And of course, it will produce a PowerPoint in less than, I would say, 3 minutes for some of them, and sometimes less than two. Now, let us go over to Microsoft PowerPoint and see the power of this tool in Microsoft 360. There it is. I'm putting in the prompt now, just giving you a voiceover. And it says working on a response, looking up things, looking over things, and making sure that it goes on. And of course, it's searching for information on the web. It's pulling that information in. And of course, in less than 2 minutes to be exact, a PowerPoint will be created. All right, still working on it, it says, and it's going to give you that information shortly. Here it is. The PowerPoint has been created, the power of inclusion, and of course, the notes are there, and every image is there that you can think of, and all you'd have to do is to edit. No, we did not use this to create our presentation. We went and we started the old-fashioned way. There I'm showing you all the information is there along with the notes. But I want us to move further because I think there is a greater move as it relates to the content that is produced. Not all the time the content that is produced is going to be easy to, of course, use. And this one was about the Maroons of Jamaica. And in this one that I did, I produced several slides, but these were the slides that were most concerning to me. And the first one was kind of all right, but the second one showed me an image that did not represent our Jamaican culture. And the third, of course, was outright out of the way. Of course, in that time, they would not have machine guns, nor would our soldiers or Maroons be dressed in any form. So, what it's doing, it's bringing in the dominant culture. Hence, the need to ensure that we focus on the output of these technologies because productivity is one thing, but disseminating false ideology in these content that we're going to be producing is problematic. No, I want to say that for me, there's a connection between, I wanted to show you that one, between music and learning. AI can produce songs now that will reinforce any subject that you want. I still remember Mary Had a Little Lamb, and the song goes on. I know it was culturally for me not appropriate. I've never seen a Little Lamb until maybe 10 years, when I was 10 years old, but was not contextualized to us. But now we can contextualize music. Now, to be honest, let me say that I did not want to do a Caribbean connection to this music that I created using artificial intelligence for two reasons. If I had played Calypso, my Trinidadian friends would be upset my Jamaican friends, to be honest, would be upset. Why didn't I play reggae music? And then my Trinidadian friends would say to me, why didn't you do that? So balancing it off. And I thought about merging them together. And I said, you know what? Let me just create something that you can see the power of this technology to create music and, of course, give you your lyrics. So listen to this. I'll play a few seconds of it so you can understand. You can use these technologies to also reinforce learning, to let students even develop their own songs. And of course, this app allows you to do it, and it's free to a level. All right, so let us see if it was good. You tell me, put your comments in the box if you've heard it before. If you've seen people using it, well, that's fine. Still give your feedback if it's getting any better.
In the classroom, AI stands tall, helping teachers one and all. Manages time, makes the grade. In this digital age we've made. AI's here to lend a hand, building lessons on demand, freeing hours in the day, guiding students on their way, creating content in a flash, never worried about a crash, answers questions night and day.
Above like this, because the first time I played AI to a group of high school students, that's what I saw them doing. It was a wonderful experience. They were moving to the song that was dedicated to their visit and playing a little AI to represent what they need to do to be successful. So that is one. You can use these technologies to engage. It can be used for reinforcing learning and so forth. But I want to say that there are many tools out there. The teacher of today, there's no need to make charts. I remember when I was a teacher in Jamaica working on getting certain things done, I had to make charts. I had to do this. I had to take cameras. I had to do so many things. But now you have artificial intelligence that can do some of the work for you. LTX Studio is one that I've loved. It has created 7 minutes of video production for me, and all I needed to do was edit. But there's a caution within using these things. They produce the dominant culture that they have been fed, and that is so dangerous. So I'll give you a story about LTX. I think I have time. LTX Studio, I was using it, and I happened to come across a thought. I say, you know what? Develop a storyline that tells about AI and, of course, humans trying to survive AI. Because to be honest, if we don't address the ethical issues, we are all in danger. And that's for another presentation. But as AI developed, humans eventually decided, you know what? It's time to balance it all to make sure that AI is not overpowering us, but that we have our dominance. So it showed me a wonderful scene. The scene was in, I would say, three, 3 or 4K. Very beautiful overlaid. It showed a woman. I didn't like that it showed a dominant person. I'm not going to say what color the individual was, but it showed one dominant person, and she was very good. She had her guns, and they were fighting the drones and everything. And humans, they came out on top. Of course, I didn't see anyone like me, but I'm assuming that we all came out on top. So it all happened when everything was settled, and I stopped for a moment. I saw a flag waving, and I was about to reproduce that image, and I said, no, stop. It was a Confederate flag, a flag that represents hate in the United States. And to myself, I said, how was this possible? It's possible because of the data that is being fed. And that's why we are recommending that everything that you use in AI, you check, you double check. It's not good enough to just leave it at that. There are subtle elements that will have people thinking, why did you post that? I was about to post a picture 2 or 3 months ago when I looked, and to be honest, I posted it. And I had a second look at it, and I had to delete it because I know individuals in Jamaica would have been very upset of the representation in that picture. So we have to be cautious. It's like having another eye to go over because you don't want to be in a position that you are questioned So therefore, I want to show you the power. Sora is another one that I've used, and that gives you just 10 seconds because I'm a ChatGPT person. I have an account. But look at the quality of them. It's getting better, and I've seen better production than the one that I'm about to show you at this point, but it was all right for me. I think I don't know what happened, but the quality was a bit lower than the one that I've done before. And this is LTX Studio. And you can get usage from this too to enhance your lesson, to build story, to start a lesson on something that's scientific or whatever. You can just think about it. It can be done.
In the heart of the Caribbean, the sun rises on a new era of education. Here, technology meets creativity, empowering every student. Our educators are the heart of this revolution, leading the charge for inclusion. The impact is profound, transforming lives and building futures. Together, we celebrate achievements and the promise of a brighter tomorrow.
And that was from, of course, LTX. Not bad, and they give you some usage of that you can have free too. Here is another one, and this one just gave me 10 seconds. That's all I'm allowed to use. I didn't put any music behind it. I just wanted to show you. My prompt was a classroom in the Caribbean with AI technology. You can see to just show that and highlight that. That's what it's showing at this point. And the 10 seconds is practically up. That's how short it is. That's why I like LTX. It gives me a wider item. And this one I had already subscribed to. It's Runway. And it's good, to be honest. I think it has gotten better. This is just a still picture that has been transformed into a moving animation. And of course, when you put these in lessons, we can do that. But I want to touch on another point after I've shown you this one. So that's the animation. Just taking you through that. But as it comes to an end, of this slide, I want to mention that I have concerns, and I think many individuals attending this one is that how is it that we are going to advance if we don't even have access to the hardware? Because it's good to talk about AI, but if students have no tablets, they have no smartphones, how will the access take place? But that's for another slide that I want to touch on because I think as a community, we need to work together. So going back to AI, we're talking about productivity. We're talking about now looking at where we want to go. We want to introduce again, of course, remind you that everything is being focused on using, of course, artificial intelligence within these models. Now, many of you stated that you would be willing or open to use AI lesson plan. I think many of you are doing that. And I think that's a way forward to help you. You know, help you and you produce a lesson plan, and after producing that lesson plan you can do another thing or so. I'm going to show you. Let me skip to that slide because I want to come back. All right, you also said that, and of course you said it would engage students. Roughly 83% of you stated that. Some said no, but I think after this you'd want to try a little bit, at least a little bit. All right. And then, do you have access to at least one tool that you're using at this point? 16% said no. And I'm happy that you're here because there are some tools that you can use. And 83% plus said yes, they have access. I, for one, use many tools, but I want to show you a productivity that we have. Here it is, what we have done in Curriculum Edge. You have a history, you have the Maroons, and to be honest, I might be obsessed with the Maroons because I think I've done 2 videos on them. So that's what comes to mind sometimes. And of course, grade 9. This is as one assessment you want in person. It's in Jamaica, 60 minutes. And of course, you'd put an extensive prompt, a better prompt than this one using the guidelines. And of course, you'll get an output like this, slightly formatted, that would give you a starting point to your lesson. So at least you can use our tool to develop that one. And of course, you have free access to the tools that we have currently. Now, when we talk about AI for productivity of students, I want to say that we have to think about learning. We have to think about places that we can get materials from. Khan Academy, I know many of you are using it. And we can also use writing assistants and chatbots. Just remember, there's always caution in using this. You can use, of course, gamified learning experience that you want to engage them in. We do have that at Curriculum Edge. But I want to give a shout out to a wonderful group tonight that we have been on a journey as it relates to inclusion and getting things out. And I want to mention this group, of course, Caribbean Visionary Educators. Since 2020, I've been blessed to have been in contact to some of the most wonderful people in the Caribbean. And I would like to recognize Caribbean Visionary Educators. We have been to Paris. Oh, goodness, that was wonderful. We have been to Brazil. Yes, the wonderful food that we had. We have been to Brazil and these places just to present and talk about inclusion, to talk about what we can do to transform the Caribbean. And their focus is on really about the Caribbean collaboration, creativity and innovation, lifelong learning. But most of all, I like the aspect that they think about consistently inclusion and respect. For those who are here tonight from Caribbean Visionary Education, educators rather, I want to say big up yourself. I'm so happy to be affiliated with you and be working consistently with the group again. But why do I mention them? Because the last presentation I did in Brazil, we had everyone that when we presented and we were featured there, I presented on the issue of assistive technology. And I think that's important for the Caribbean to understand Jamaica. Let us look at the context. 19.1 million individuals in the Caribbean are children with disability. It means that we have to think about technology. And when we talk about assisted technology, we're talking about individuals with disability using specialized tools. Now, some of these tools can be used AI. And of course, when we use AI, of course, it improves their productivity. For example, speech to text. For example, an individual who wears these glasses, I won't put them on again, could also read images and get back feedback from them. It could be so many things. But sometimes, as I stated in Brazil, access to these things are sometimes impossible. So if we have a starting point for the technology, we can do that. We can remove the barriers. So as we look at things like Microsoft Suite, some of them allow that sort of thing to take place. Otter AI is another tool that can use and can formulate certain things. But we must consider those individuals with special needs. And by the way, we have an app that if you are having a problem with a student and have difficulty, you can put a little prompt in, record the behavior frequency and do that, and then you get some ideas in. But there's a warning. Remember, you're not educational psychologist, so this is just a guide for you. And that is the key point. So as we move forward, let us think about technology, just not for those who are able to use it, but for those who might want to have a little add-on. And we need to ensure that they have access to the digital devices that will give them the leeway to this. So therefore, AI can be not for some, but for all. And that's my thought. I want to show you this one because I think we want to just showcase some of the tools that we have been using in operation at this point. And let us see where we can take you at this point and leave some point for question and answer.
Welcome to our showcase. The first tool that we'll be looking at is the Quizmaker. So let's scroll down and select the Quizmaker. Here we see we can type in subject, grade level, quiz date, lesson topic, the difficulty, number of questions, and our quiz will be outputted. Let's enter those details and see what we get. Here are all the details filled out. Let's generate this quiz and see what we get. Here we can see our quiz generated. Our answers are in green, and as we specified, we have 5 questions about the Maroons. Let's go ahead and download the PDF and see what that looks like. Here we can see our output. All the questions are on the first page, and the answers are on the second sheet. So if a teacher would like, they can go ahead and give their students this first page and keep the answer section for themselves. Of course, it's important to note that we have to verify that each question and answer is correct. The next tool that we will be looking at is the grading rubric for written assignments generator. Clicking on that, we see we have subject, course, select the criteria, and assignment details. Let me quickly fill this in and let's see what the output is. It's important to note here we have the criteria, and that ranges from originality, grammar and structure, connection to coursework, and we can multiple select. Here we can see in our rubric, it comes back with the criteria for each category we had selected: connection to coursework, adopt flipped learning, and the use of artifacts. Each has details corresponding to exemplary, proficient, developing, and needs improvement. Moving on swiftly, we have EduLetters Pro. This is a communication tool crafted for educators, administrators, and school staff. We see here we can tailor the responses that we have based on admin or teacher. So if we select admin, then we're prompted with things that correspond to admin's daily tasks and activities. And if we select teachers, then we're prompted with things for teachers' activities like parent communication letter, request for classroom supplies, field trip approval. Let's generate a sample. Here we can see that we have our output for this email, and it does contain the information about the child's attendance being inconsistent. We can easily copy out this, paste it in your email, or paste it in a Google Doc, change the information that needs to be tailored to you, and send it. Our last tool that we'll be showcasing today is the student attendance tool. Currently, we have a predefined format that we take, and it can be downloaded from here. In the future, we'll be working on expanding the types of attendance forms that we can take into the system. In this form that I've already uploaded, we see that we have 4 different students. We can see their total present and their total absent dates. Let's view and see what we can do. Here we can see 2 beautiful graphical representations, one showing the days that the student has missed and the other showing the days that the student has been present versus the days that they have been absent. We also have possible actions. Here we can see we can generate emails, and we can also specify the tone. Formal, friendly, encouraging, informative. Our smart system will take in the dates that the student has missed and automatically generate an email based on those. No need to type anything else except the email tone. Additionally, based on the dates or the attendance percentage, we can generate tips on how to get the student to be more engaged in the classroom.
All right, so we have it there, and to be honest, we have roughly, I would say, including those on the sidebar, we have roughly, I would say, over 40 tools. We also have a chat bot that also will give you back the audio. We're working to ensure that accessibility is there, so we're going to do all of that. But I want to kind of end by saying I've shown you several tools, and all we require you or ask you to do in order for us to always gain momentum in this field is to log on at some point and, of course, use our tools. So I want to say that choose a tool, choose one or two that you want to look at and work with them. And over a period of time, you'll have access to more. I want to say for us as a Caribbean individuals to move forward, we have to engage in piloting programs that use artificial intelligence. We have to foster training because that is going to be important. But most of all, we have to work collaboratively. We have to work collaboratively to ensure that individuals have access to the technology, not just the technology, but to the hardware, as pointed out earlier. And of course, collect feedback and make the necessary adjustments required. This slide is showing you a SWOT analysis worksheet. I want everyone to go on our site. I want you to click on it. I want you to use it because it tells you where you are as it relates to artificial intelligence. And I think it gives you a vision of what you need to do, where you need to go, and also levels the way that you need to think about AI in education. The last one I want to talk about is a resource that I have available. It talks about various models. It brings about Bloom's taxonomy. It talks about AI enhanced curriculum. It talks about AI enhanced content. And moreover, it talks about AI fatigue, that some people feel sometimes tired. But let me say for you to move on, you have to engage and take a little bite at a time. AI is not just for some, but for all, and you should have access to it. I want to say at this point in time, let me say thanks for your attention. Thanks for attending. We had over 228 people at some point, and this is a remarkable turnout. We hope that we'll be able to conduct more sessions with you and dig deeper. What I did today was to paint a landscape from smart glasses to technology to where we should be going and the ethical considerations.
In the classroom, AI stands tall, helping teachers one and all. Manages time, makes the grade. In this digital age we've made. AI's here to lend a hand, building lessons on demand.